Good morning, Keller Williams. How are you? Happy Monday morning. Welcome to the back half of August. My goodness me, are we rolling forward quickly? I hope you all had an enjoyable weekend. We had a lovely weekend on Block Island celebrating Adam Wagner's wedding to his lovely bride, Maggie. So congratulations officially now with a formal ceremony to Adam and Maggie. Do make sure you just reach out to Adam. He is still on Block Island celebrating the rest of his honeymoon, so give him till next week, but do reach out to him and congratulate him on that event. All righty, so let's jump right in. Speaking of celebration, we have for you this morning a quick celebration of something that many of you might relate to.
It's really no secret that I love bacon. You remember the first time you ate bacon? Does anybody remember the first time? I had bacon. I'm from the country, so I've had it with the rind on it. Here is a kid who took his first bite of bacon. And Lord, what? Did he describe bacon the way some of us feel? Watch this kid right here.
Yum. Jason, is that good?
Burger.
Bacon.
Burger.
Bacon.
Burger. Burger. Over here. Burger. Bacon.
Eat some more.
Eat it.
Eat some more bacon.
Oh, that's delicious.
All righty. I think my favorite part of that is just the tail end when he says, "Oh, that's the bacon, baby." All righty. So, Paul, my good friend Paul Leibowitz, what are your thoughts on bacon this morning?
We love bringing home the bacon here at Westport Mortgage. How you doing? So I want to say good morning to Keller Williams and welcome to what is this mid-August Monday morning madness minute. And I am, of course, Paul Leibowitz with Westport Mortgage, where we are always helping realtors sell and helping buyers buy. Now, Rick, you know that keeping up to date with the lending industry is a constant thing that we have to do. We got to stay current. And Fannie Mae makes it easy because every month they put out a seller's guide and it gives the latest monthly update. So I just want to give you two snippets from this month's Fannie Mae seller's guide. These are changes that Fannie Mae has made to their underwriting. So the first one is a kind of a major change, and it took the industry by surprise last week, where in their underwriting guidelines, they basically said that they are looking to increase first-time home buyers by helping them qualify for a mortgage while using their rent payment history. Now, this is not something that has happened in the past. Rent payment history was kind of a sidebar. You know, you wanted to make sure that you paid your rent, et cetera. Well, now Fannie Mae is going to add it into the underwriting mix. It's especially targeted toward people who might not have credit cards, car loans, student loans, et cetera. So these are low credit users, first-time home buyers, and they're going to use their credit history, on-time payments for the rent to help strengthen their ability to qualify. Now, obviously, these rent payments have to be verified. So they've got to be either a check paid or electronic payment made. And they're going to look at the bank statement to take a look and make sure that it's going. So it's good news for low or no credit borrowers who can now get into the game. Now, kind of on the other end of the spectrum, this is from the I didn't know they did that territory. Fannie Mae is now allowing credit card reward points. You know, those points you get at the grocery store or at the gas station when you fill up, you get those points on your credit card. Well, Fannie Mae says that they're now eligible as an asset for down payment, closing costs, or reserves. So obviously you got to convert them to cash. They've got to hit your bank account and you've got to paper trail it, et cetera. But I just thought it's interesting that for you high credit card users, you can now find something good to do with those points. Go buy a house. Come on. All right. So as usual, we are Westport Mortgage, your mortgage partner since 2007.
Wow, buying a house with points. That was worth the price of admission this morning. Thank you so much, Paul. I have a phone call to make after I get off the phone with you all. JetBlue is buying my next house. I love it. All righty. Thank you, Paul. Always appreciate you. A couple of quick announcements this morning before we get into our main topic. Announcement number one, on your calendar today is a buyer panel at 1 p.m. And I am sorry to have to do this, but I do have to reschedule that buyer panel for today. So do watch. We will have that on for you either late this week or at the tail end of Mega Camp next week, but not today, 1 o'clock. So do watch for more information on that. However, tomorrow at 1 o'clock, we do have the one, the only Mr. Len Schwartz facilitating a mastermind around creating referrals in your database. For those of you who know Len, he is the master. If you want to figure out better ways to get better results from your database, Len is your guy, because he is truly the master, the referral guru in our organization. So he's going to spend time with you tomorrow, 1 o'clock in this Zoom room. So do make sure that you fill that room to get more out of your database. All right, 2 updates for you. Mega Camp update. So Mega Camp, we are at now 70 people registered, which is awesome and way better than 50. However, it's still, in my mind, if we have 570 agents, we're still missing about 500 of you. So I guess the big question I have is, where does the disconnect seem to be on that? Because I think we clearly have some kind of disconnect on the benefit of Mega Camp and the either the cost or the time, right? So I'm assuming it's one of those two things, because if it wasn't cost and it wasn't time, everyone would just be registered. Let me just say a couple of quick things to you about Mega Camp this morning. Number one, we have no real what's that phrase? We have no dog in that fight. Yes, that's it. We have no real dog in that fight, except that what we know is that by attending, you learn things that make you more money, right? And we believe our job is to get up every morning to figure out what we can do to help you make more money. My point is, there's no one coming after us saying, hey, you don't have your folks registered. We don't make a percentage of the registration. As a matter of fact, from a money perspective, the more of you who attend, the more it costs us, because the more of you we have to feed. And we're happy to do that in those days in the office and those evening events. My point for you is this. I spend a ton of money every year doing what I can to spend as much time with Gary and as much time with top agents as possible. This is a package of 2.5 days for $129, where you get to spend time with Gary and you get to spend time with top agents around the country. And so as business owners, I'm just not sure why that's even a thought. So what I would do is stop overthinking it, recognize that $129 is just one night that you don't go out to dinner, or 1 week that you make your lunch instead of buying your lunch, or 2 weeks of coffee and bagel for many of you in the morning, right? Choose to invest that in your business, to spend time with the people who are doing this at a high level, so that you can take even just one idea, implement it, and start doing it at a higher level. I guarantee you will make your $129 back in the first 2 hours. All right, megacamp.kw.com is where you go to register for that event. Your listings update for Monday morning. Your listings update for Monday morning. We are now 46 days into our 62-day challenge, right? That ends at the end of August. As of 46 days, you should be at 223 new listings. But because you are you, and you clearly like to overachieve, you are at a whopping 247 new listings out of a needed 223. So you are maintaining that cushion. I kind of projected out at this pace. We originally, at the pace we were working in July, we were going to end at about 360 or so, right? We've pulled back a little bit in the first 2 weeks of August, and yet we are still pegged to end our time, if we keep up this pace 2 weeks from now, at just over 330 new listings out of the goal of 300. So keep up the great work. Let us know what we can do to assist you. If you are on this call and haven't taken a new listing in the last 6 weeks, reach out to somebody else on this call who has and find out what it is they're doing, or plug into our listings panel, which happens 1 week from today, to make sure that that you get what you need. The other thing you could do is attend MegaCamp. Funny how that comes up, huh? Right? To figure out what the best of the best are doing across the country to take listings and plug yourself into that. All righty. So there's my updates for you. I hope those are helpful, useful, and exciting. But I wanted to talk with you a little bit today. You might have seen how I plugged this morning. And how I plugged this morning was New Year's Eve 1990. And it's been something that's been on my mind for the last couple of weeks in my relaxed state over the long weekend in Block Island. I started to have a discussion with Steve about it as well, and thought I might expand that conversation to include all of you. And so New Year's Eve 1990, while Silva was getting drunk in Bulgaria, I was 19, almost 20 years old. I was about to turn 20 a couple of months later. So I was 19 years old in a friend's apartment on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. I was single, I was in school, I was living in my own apartment in New York. Like, you know, I had a job, everything was good, right? It was good. I mean, how could it be bad? I was barely 20 years old, right? Everyone remember barely 20? Like, what was really wrong with your life at barely 20? You thought there was stuff wrong, but looking back, you realized there was nothing really wrong, right? And so as we celebrated the new year, I kind of stepped out onto the balcony of this apartment just to kind of separate myself from the distraction and the bustle of the actual party. And I clearly, as if it was yesterday, and it wasn't yesterday, just PS, I remember as if it was yesterday thinking to myself, wow, like 1990, I'm going to be 20 years old. Everything that's going to happen to me that's important in my life is going to happen to me in the next 20 years. Like, I had finished the first 20 years of my life, and all the awesome, cool, great stuff that's going to happen to me is going to happen now in the next 20 years of my life, right? Because clearly when you're 19, the years between 20 and 40 kind of seem like, wow, that's the rest of your entire life. And so I was thinking about this recently, and now when I look back, New Year's Eve 1990 was 30 years ago. It was actually a little more than 30 years ago, right? And a lot of cool stuff happened to me between 20 and 40. I can tell you that even cooler stuff happened between 20 and 51, right? But it got me thinking around how fast time moves, and that if you're not careful, you start to hit numbers that remind you of things that you wanted to do that maybe you haven't quite gotten to yet. And so I wanted to just give you guys this morning a reminder and a quick, simple system that I'm starting on myself this week to get you started, to make sure that you do the things that you want to do and not push them. Not say, I'm going to wait on that one. That one has to wait. I have to get this and this done first. Oh, this is happening, so I'll do that after that, right? Because remember, stuff happens. And we don't know, none of us know how long we have on this planet. And we certainly don't know what 10 or 20 years from now looks like in terms of age, health, circumstances, right? All those things that you don't have a crystal ball for. So here's my quick system for you. And I hope you'll indulge this this morning, because I think if you take it to heart, it will help you with planning your life by design. So the first thing I want you to do is this. I want you to write your bucket list. If you don't have one, get on purpose about that, right? And not casually. I mean, get really, really clear with yourself about the things that you want to do, that you want to accomplish, that you want to create, that you want to gift, that you want to bring about in your world. So how I'm doing it is I'm sitting down, just gonna like do a brain dump, bam. What are those 100 things that fit all those categories? And I'll give you my 5 categories if you're interested. My categories are this. What do I want to learn? I dedicate that one to Donna Gilbert. Number 2, where do I want to go? Number 3, what kind of legacy do I want to leave? Number 4, what do I want to have or own? And number 5, what experiences do I want to have or give? So those are my 5 categories. And again, I'm just sitting down and doing a big, huge brain dump of a bucket list. And then I'm going through and I'm categorizing them to make sure they fit into one of those 5 categories. Who knows, maybe there's a miscellaneous category that I missed. But those are those 5 categories that are important to me to make sure that I plan for. So then my second step, number 2, is this. I'm going to then prioritize that list based on just how important each of those items actually is to me. So if I have a list of 100, I'm going to start moving those top 10 or 20 up to the top to make sure that I'm really focused on the things that I really, really want to have. Number 3, then I'm taking one of those really important items and I'm going to calendarize it in each year for the next 20 years. Yes, I am talking to you this morning about planning the next 2 decades of your life, but I'm doing it from the perspective of making sure that you don't end up 20 years from now looking back saying, oh man, I can't believe all that time went by and I didn't do any of the things that I wanted to do. I didn't set up anything that was important to me. So the really important ones, I'm finding 20 of those big ticket items, and I'm going to start to calendarize them one a year, starting now for the next 20 years of my life. And then I'm going to take at least 3 more of the less important ones and feather them in to each year as well. So that each year I get to look and say, wow, so I have one big ticket item and then 3 or 4 other smaller ticket items that I want to make sure happen in my world this year, so that I can start making plans to make them come about. Here's the important step, number 4. Then I'm going to attach a time and monetary value to each of those important things. How much time do I need and how much money do I need to have to make those years actually materialize? And that, Mara, is exactly where that how many houses do I want to sell, do I need to sell comes in, right? You're going to then take that and say, okay, I need X number of dollars. Maybe you've got a really big one. Maybe you need $100,000 extra for something that's on your bucket list. Well, if it were me, I would push that one out a little bit. If that one's a struggle right now, well, push that one out 5 or 7 years, but calendarize it and then figure out what you have to be doing today to make sure that you end up 7 years from now with what you need for that year, without skimping on the years in between. Make sense? And then my last step for you is just get started. Just get started. Stop waiting. Stop waiting. In the time it took me to give you that little plan, you don't get those minutes back. Now, I'm glad you chose to spend them with me. However, use those same amount of minutes when we finish this call to start on this project, to start planning the next 2 decades of your life, to make sure that the important things that need to show up in your world, to make sure that you have a life full of satisfaction, actually arrive. Choose to happen to your life instead of just allowing your life to happen to you. Guys, I hope that's helpful for you today. I pass my baton of the microphone over to Adonis. Good morning, Adonis. How are you making your life happen to you, my friend?
Yes, we must be active in this life. So today, Marty's going to continue with campaigns for us. We're going to be talking about creating and scheduling, publishing a social post campaign. So enjoy.
Good morning, Keller Williams, and welcome back to the KW Command 66-Day Challenge 5.0, and today is day 51. So yesterday we introduced you to the Campaigns applet, and today I'm going to show you how to use that applet to create and schedule a social post. So we're going to come into the Campaigns applet, that's number 7 down the list here, the megaphone, and click into Campaigns. And then just like with many other things inside of Command, we want to create something new. We've got that big teal, green, blue button in the top right-hand corner. We're going to click on Create Campaign. And the first campaign I'm going to teach you how to do is the social post. So we're going to click on Social Post. And you can see this brings up kind of your editor, what you're going to build out for the campaign. So the first thing is your text. You can see that if you are using Facebook, you're going to have 2,200 characters that you can use for this description. Just a quick note, if we scroll down, you can see that you can also connect Twitter. And if you do so, then it's going by the lowest common denominator for character limitation, which is 280 characters inside of Twitter. So just something to be aware of, depending on where you're posting, the character count for your description will change. So we're going to go ahead and put in the text. Check out my new beautiful listing. Amazing water views on your own private peninsula. Did I spell that wrong? Let's get that corrected. Right, there we go. And too many upgrades to list. You'll have to see this one to believe it, right? You all remember that we were doing on day 45, we actually created a just listed social graphic. This is where we can bring that into play. So this is sort of the interconnectivity between campaign and designs. When we go down to this second section, this is where I can decide what the actual design will be or the content of this social post. So I do have the ability to upload an image straight from my hard drive. I do have also the ability to browse the designs library. In addition, you can bring in videos, right? So you can see what the situation, if you want to upload a video, it must be smaller than 40 megabytes and less than 120 seconds. The supported formats, MP4, M4V. You can also use a video URL. So if you have something like YouTube, etc., again, less than 40 megabytes and less than 120 seconds. Supported formats, MP4 or M4V. In this case, though, we created that design in the design library on day 45, and here it is. You'll remember that we created this, so we're going to select that image as our image to create. I will say occasionally when I'm selecting an image from the design library, I get an error that says it's not quite ready. If you get that error, just go back through the process one more time, and typically the second time around, it will be ready for you to post. So we don't need to do any cropping. This is already laid out appropriately. So we're going to click on crop image and we are good to go. Now something to note here in the second section is the Dba logo. So depending on your state, your market center rules, etc., right, you may or may not be required to have your Dba logo on your marketing materials. I already have the Dba logo on this marketing piece. You can see here in the top right hand corner. And so Command is attempting to put it again in the bottom left Because I already have it in the top right, I don't need this logo. So I'm going to click on the X to remove it. Again, just make sure that you kind of know the guidelines and rules with regards to your advertising requirements. Next, at the final bottom section here, you've got schedule. So this is a pretty cool feature of the social post campaigns, in that I can decide that I want this post to go out on my Facebook, my Twitter, or both immediately, right, which would be published immediately, or I can schedule this for a future date. So I can come out and say, hey, I'd like for this to go live on Monday. If you remember, inside of designs, it was pretty easy to change this photo, right? And so you could literally create 3 separate designs very quickly and easily, save each one of those inside your design library, and then come into campaigns and set up one social post to go out on Monday, and then another one to go out on Wednesday, and then another one to go out on Friday, right? So just one example of how you can quickly and easily use designs and campaigns to have effective and impactful social media content. So once I've selected what day and time I want this post to actually go out, I can come down and select which channels I want it to go out on. And then once doing so, I would click on schedule post. It's going to say, are you sure you want to schedule this post? And I'll click on schedule post. This will now show up inside of the social posts home screen. So when I'm under my social post tab, right, you can see we selected that to go out on the 16th of August at 10 a.m. on Facebook and Twitter. And if I scroll down, you can see that right here. Now, this isn't technically my listing, and so if something was wrong with the photo, maybe the image is incorrect, maybe your verbiage isn't quite as great as you wanted it to be, you do have the ability to click on the 3 dots and delete it, as long as the post has not already been, sent over to Facebook. So we're going to go ahead and delete this for now, just so it doesn't post to my account, but a way to show you, you can also edit it as well if you just needed to correct the spelling or something similar. So we'll delete that post, and I'll say, are you sure? And I'll say yes. But that's it for today. Really, the first campaign that we're going to dive in from the campaigns applet, the social posts, how to create content for your Facebook business page or Twitter account, and then schedule that to go out or publish immediately through the applet.
Okay, so you heard it from the man himself. And tomorrow we're going to continue even more, creating and sending a direct mail campaign to contacts or your closest homes. So enjoy. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody. Enjoy the day.